What happened to the Hitler inner circle? Hitler's inner circle consisted of powerful Nazi leaders who played significant roles in shaping the Third Reich. Here's what happened to some of the key figures. Albert Speer, Hitler's chief architect and minister of armaments. Speer was sentenced to 20 years in prison at the Nuremberg trials for his involvement in the Nazi regime. He narrowly escaped death due to his denial of knowledge about the Holocaust, which was later proven to be a lie. Martin Bormann, Hitler's personal secretary and head of the Nazi Party Chancellery. Bormann disappeared in April 1945 and was tried in absentia at Nuremberg. His remains were found in 1972, and it's believed he died by suicide to avoid capture by Soviet forces. Hermann Göring *, the commander-in-chief of the Luftwaffe and Hitler's designated successor, Göring surrendered to the Allies and was sentenced to death at Nuremberg. He took his own life with a cyanide pill hours before his scheduled execution. Heinrich Himmler, the leader of the SS and a principal architect of the Holocaust, Himmler attempted to negotiate a surrender with the Allies in April 1945. When Hitler discovered this, he stripped Himmler of his powers. Himmler was later captured and took his own life with a cyanide capsule. Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's propaganda minister, Goebbels was named Reich Chancellor after Hitler's death. He and his wife poisoned their 6 children and then took their own lives in the Führer bunker. Rudolf Hess, Hitler's deputy, Hess flew solo to Scotland in 1941 to negotiate Britain's exit from the war. His plan failed, and he spent the rest of the war in captivity. Hess was sentenced to life imprisonment at Nuremberg and died in 1987, reportedly by hanging himself. Reinhard Heydrich, the head of the SD and a key figure in the Holocaust, Heydrich was assassinated in Prague in 1942 by Czech partisans. His death led to brutal reprisals against the Czech population. Joachim von Ribbentrop, the foreign minister of Nazi Germany, Ribbentrop was sentenced to death at Nuremberg and executed. Karl Donitz *, the commander-in-chief of the German Navy, Donitz was sentenced to 10 years in prison at Nuremberg for his role in the Nazi regime. Wilhelm Keitel, the chief of the Supreme High Command of the German Armed Forces, Keitel was sentenced to death at Nuremberg and executed. Erich Raeder, the Grand Admiral and Commander-in-Chief of the Kriegsmarine, Raeder was sentenced to life imprisonment at Nuremberg but was released in 1955 due to poor health. Walther Funk, the Minister of Economics and President of the Reichsbank, Funk was sentenced to life imprisonment at Nuremberg but was released in 1957 due to poor health.